Hello and welcome to Discovering the World of Natural Health. I'm your host, Claiborne Holtzman. Your life and your health are critical, especially if you're having challenges in your life and you really are not feeling good, don't think anything's going to get better, and they could be from a lot of things. They could be from physical, mental, and emotional experiences or encounters, whichever may be getting in your way to help you be able to have a better quality of life and do it naturally. We at Remedy This Naturally, 1140 Benvenue Road in Rocky Mount, share old news, things that have happened in the past that have been very beneficial. I will share with you in the beginning of the show here, I will talk to you about the raisin cure. Those that can remember, there was a commentator on the news that the world stopped when he came on the air. And that was first thing in the morning and at noontime. His name was Paul Harvey. Stand by for the news. And he had a following. He had a way of describing and saying things like nobody else. So he was a unique individual that gave information. And one of the things, I did not give you a chance. You're going to need your pencil and paper on this one, or hit the record button so you'll have it, because what I'm going to share with you is the gin, the GIN, and raisin cure. So we're talking about taking some gin with some raisins, and we've got a cure from something that people have a problem with. And just to give the initials of the thing we're concerned about is arthritis. Yeah, that was a whole bunch of letter in the beginning, wasn't it? So I want to just share this with you. I want to bring to your recollect how you can take a remedy that has been there for years. Then what we're going to do, we're going to talk more about historical uses of things and how Scripture gave people the answer to their negative problems with the body. Now you got to go back and you got to remember, if you are regular to the show, that what we have been able to do is give knowledge and information and go back to Scripture for the answers to our physical concerns. And they also can be mental, emotional, spiritual, not just physical. I think a lot of the physical things that we have in our life are due to us not being in contact with our spiritual Heavenly Father, that we have a relationship one-on-one that can give us what we need to be able to make it through the day, make it through the night, make it through an hour, a minute at a time. There is a foundation of what we've got to have in order for us to have good health. Now, I'm going to come back and let you know my foundation. My foundation for good health is I believe that man was created in the image and likeness of God, and the woman came and became part of that while God just put a deep sleep upon the man, took your rib, and we had a beautiful mate to go along with our life and our health. Because we can be individual, we can be not connected to other people, but we were not designed that way. We were designed to be in harmony and unity, for us to, I take your power, your energy, you take my power and your energy. We combine the two together and we make a strong force of power to be able to overcome death, the world, the flesh, all of the things that try to rob, steal, and destroy us from what's going on. We can and we will overcome. And now I have to say this. As you or I think in our heart, so are we. So why don't we get in alignment? Get in just right where we need to be so we can be able to have that fulfillment. Isn't that great stuff? Let's talk about the gin raisin cure. Presented to the nation by Paul Harvey. And that was back in, if I'm not mistaken, 1997. Wow. Okay? So let's talk about the cure and see what Paul Harvey has to say about it. Gotcha. Some years ago, the newsman Paul Harvey recommended raisins soaked in gin for all manners of aches and pains, including arthritis. Okay? Here's a letter I received on this subject from a correspondent in Mesa, Arizona. Now, I want to just show you where I'm getting this from. The Green Pharmacy, and in here, the Green Pharmacy, I'll raise it up a little bit higher, Dr. James A. Duke, put him up on the web. This guy searched the world over for cures, looking for plants and natural remedies. And he said they're untapped in the jungles. It's there waiting for us to have it. The American Indian was so adept to using the Green Pharmacy, as he refers to it as. And I talked about it as God's pharmacy. But main thing is, it's coming from the earth. And remember, I'll give you this again, that the minerals we have in our body, the same minerals are in the soil that we need to replenish because we came from the dirt. And for us to be made whole again, we have to deal with the dirt. Okay. Repeat. Thousands of safe, natural remedies lie untapped in jungles, forests, and herbal gardens throughout the world. Now, America's foremost author on medical plants and herbs shares his knowledge of these hidden resources of healing power. You know, sometimes these hidden things, somebody has been playing hide and go seek with us. They've been hiding the information, and we've been out trying to seek it, but we're not sure how to do that. So we take the knowledge and information of someone that has traveled the world over, start finding out what it is that I want a cure for. And yes, I use the word cure because I am going along with what is being taught in the Green Pharmacy and the Dr. James A. Duke, PhD, says it can do. All right? For arthritis, a new all-natural remedy that can cut pain in half. Let's stop right there on reading on the book and go back to the inside, and we're going to go back to what? The gin and raisin cure. Gin and raisin. Okay. Here's a letter I received on this subject from a correspondent in Mesa, Arizona. Quote, after reading a Paul Harvey commentary on gin and soaked raisins, a group of friends and I decided to give it a try. So here's someone that's testing this out, okay? Finding out if there's anything to gin and raisins helping to get rid of all manner of pains and aches, including arthritis. Just check her out. Keep going. Okay. It really works. We have all enjoyed great relief from arthritic aches and pains. Now, testimony. After 15 years of pain, I'm almost totally pain-free. I've been taking pain pills for years with only a minimal relief. Some kinds of pains that have been relieved or eliminated after taking the gin-soaked raisin formula, including, here's some other things. I said the word arthritis. I said that it has a positive response. We're in the process right now of talking about testimonies from people who put it to the test to find out if it really worked. So with that in mind, it says, I've been taking it. I've been taking pain. Okay, he said, after 15 years, I'm almost totally pain-free. I've been taking pain pills for years with only minimal relief. Some kinds of pains that have been relieved or eliminated after taking the gin-soaked raisin formula include migraine, backaches, gout and arthritis, pain in joints. Wow, think about that for a moment. We got some things coming in on the thing there. Let's try this again. Some kinds of pain that have been eliminated or relieved after taking gin-soaked raisin formula include migraine headaches, gout, arthritic pain in joints. Several people reported a decrease in pain and awakened them at night, enabling them to have an uninterrupted sleep. In your research, have you discovered why it works so well? And the answer was, author replies, no, but I am going home to a gin Collins with grape juice since I prefer grapes to raisins. If you benefit from gin steeped raisins, the raisins probably do you more good than the gin. Grapes and raisins contain many pain-relieving, anti-arthritic, anti-inflammatory chemicals. Looking over the long list of compounds that occur naturally in grapes, I see such pain relieved as ferulic acid, gintistic acid, and this is caffeinerol, glycerides, and aspirin-like acylic acid. Grapes and raisins also contain several anti-inflammatory compounds: ascorbic acid, cynipric acid, coumarin, quercetin, and quercedrin. And in 1997, there was a flurry of interest in resveratrol, yet another inflammatory compound of those grapes are the best source. Ounce for ounce, raisins contain more of all that compounds than grapes because they contain less water. All of these pains relieves things that occurred at low levels in raisins. So I doubt this mere 7 gin-soaked raisins that Paul Harvey trouted could contain significant doses. My correspondent might have benefited from a placebo effect, believing enough is ready can help it work. But a large quantity of raisins might have provided significant pain relieving and anti-inflammatory benefits. Personally, I'd be tempted to try raisins before depending on non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drugs. The raisins are surely less likely to do you any harm than the gin they're soaked in, especially if you're prone to gout. Sugar is a major trigger of excruciating gout attacks. I can guarantee that my big toe will swell if I drink 6-pack of beer and don't take any allopurinol. But if you don't have gout and are not an alcoholic, modest consumption of alcohol may help relieve arthritic pain. Now, that was what it was. He took 15 raisins soaked in gin per day, and that was what helped. Thought it helped, may have helped, got rid of gout, arthritis, pain, just because it gave the body and brought out from the raisins the power of what was in there and gave it the ability for people to get positive results and to say, I like what it did for me. Okay? And one of the things about joints and pain is that arthritis literally means joint inflammation. According to the Arthritic Foundation, there are more than 100 different diseases that provide joint pain and inflammation. Everything from the flu to certain cancers. But when people say arthritis, they usually mean osteoarthritis, also known as degenerative joint disease. Osteoarthritis is the most prevalent of more than a dozen different kinds of arthritis. Some 16 million Americans have it. The hips, the knees, the spine, tiny joints of the hands and feet are more frequently affected. Osteoarthritis is usually developed gradually, begin with minor aches, turn into pain and stiffness, swelling, and range of motion. Symptoms and sometimes subside with gentle physical activity, but not always. So, what does the Green Pharmacy have to say about arthritis? Good question. Let's see if we can't sneak into a preview of Dr. Duke and what he has to offer us. Fortunately, along with stinging nettle, write that down, stinging nettle, there are another number of other herbs that can help. And one thing I'll help you why know that why the plant has that name is if you kind of reach into it or touch it, the little hairs on there is kind of irritate the skin and it gives a stinging effect. Indian research gave 3 grams of ginger a day to 18 people with arthritis and 28 with rheumatoid arthritis. More than 75% of these participants in this study reported at least some relief from pain and swelling, even after more than 2 years of taking these high doses of ginger. None of these people reported any side effects. This study is one reason that Jean Caper, author of Food, Your Miracle Medicine, drinks ginger tea for her osteoarthritis. Did you get that? We got a testimony from Jean Caper and she uses ginger tea for her arthritis. Now, the curcumin in turmeric is a close chemical relative to some compounds found in ginger. So I'm not surprised that this herb also has a major reputation as an arthritis treatment. So, what do we talk about there? We talked about stinging nettle, talked about curcumin, and ginger. 3 things help with inflammation. Would that be of interest to you? Well, if not, maybe it was interest to somebody else, and see if it would benefit them. Something as simple as gin and raisins. Ginger. That's why even with the sweetener in it, and if it's got real ginger in it, ginger ale has a tendency to help soothe, calm, and help relieve. Okay? So, see where we are on that. Taken care of. All right, here we go. Now, some people cannot do this very well, but pineapple, intriguing research suggests that bromelain, a chemical in pineapple, helps prevent inflammation. For some time now, athletic trainers have been recommending pineapple to athletes to prevent and treat sport injuries. I think it's also a good bet for people with arthritis. Bromelain can help the body get rid of immune antigen complex, compounds that are implicated in some arthritic conditions. It also helps with digest fibrin, another compound suspected of being involved in some type of arthritis. If you need an excuse to indulge yourself with fresh, ripe pineapple, this is it. And I'm going to say, when they say fresh, ripe pineapple, I would suggest going along with that, okay? Fresh, ripe pineapple. One of the things, and I use this regularly. I use red pepper you got to have it with pizza. Got to have the crushed red pepper with pizza. You can also have ground up red pepper, and that is what's in the capsule that you can purchase at Remedy This Naturally. And it's called capsaicin. That's what it's referred to as, okay? Here's a little thing that help. This is what most of you going to hear, and most of you going to think, and when I say it, you're going to say, I will keep my paint in that. But red pepper causes some pain on the tongue, but ironically, it interferes with pain perception elsewhere throughout the body. So if you can get it past swallowing it, then the body will make it not seem so hot. I will throw this out, may be in my reading and may not be in my reading, is that people who have like bleeding ulcers, and I can remember my Uncle William growing up, Mama made butter and cottage cheese, and Uncle William would come get the buttermilk. Lee, you got anything to drink? I appreciate it. Well, it all came about. So we got to talking about red pepper. Lee, can you go ahead and cut it to commercial? Well, we will try to keep on going here. How's that? You can make a tea by mixing red pepper and water, but it would be a whole lot more pleasurable to have some red pepper cooked in a variety of spicy dishes for a quick hit. Use a splash of hot pepper sauce in tomato juice. Good way of doing it. Compounds in red pepper can also help relieve arthritis when you apply this herb to the skin. Researchers have discovered that you'll get significant trying to do it without making a lot of noise on the TV here, you know? That's not too nice. Pain relief for you, ample capsaicin cream directly to painful arthritic joints 4 times daily. In one study of the treatment, capsicum cream reduced RA pain by more than half. Osteoarthritis pain was reduced by about 2/3. Capsaicin cream are generally believed safe and effective for arthritis. Look for capsicum in the ingredient list of over-the-counter pain creams, and you will find them there in different ones. If you use a capsicum cream, here's the time you need to make sure of. Be sure to wash your hands thoroughly afterward. You don't want to get it in your eyes. Also, since some people are quite sensitive to this compound, you should test it on a small area of skin to make sure it's okay for you to use before using. It's on a larger scale. It seems to irritate your skin, discontinue use. And let me just talk to you about a little tea here. And thank you, good Lord, for coming to my rescue here. I appreciate that. Rosemary and oregano are both antioxidant mints. Add several more antioxidant herbs to these two and get a multiple mint antioxidant tea. The mints are basil, bee balm, horehound, hyssop, lemon balm, and lemon balm also has the name of Melissa. Marjoram, oregano, peppermint, rosemary, sage, savory spearmint, and thyme. It makes no sense to top it off with a dash of ginger and turmeric. You can come, I don't know if we got the whole list there, but you can come to Remedy This Naturally and you can get the bulk herbs to make your own tea. If you can get the little ball that you can put the herbs in, however you want to do it, and just a tea, something just a few minutes ago when whatever it was that happened that wanted me to lose my voice, I usually have my peppermint oil and I'll just take a drop of it and I'll put it right here, and then I will take it and put it on the very back of my tongue, and then if that is possibly doing good but I want more results, I will take that peppermint and I will rub on both sides of my throat, And if you get the tension in the neck and help relieve it, then just rub it across the back. So peppermint and ginger, very important. And knowing that you can add other herbs to it just gives you more variety, gives you a little twang with your tea. Okay? Some of the things, in addition to the antioxidant value, many of these herbs contain proven, these herbs contain proven anti-arthritic compounds. And I would make a strong suggestion. And that suggestion is, get you some of the tea, put some honey in it, or stevia, xylitol, as a sweetener. Stay away from the table sugar, as we know it. Because, folks, that stuff is addictive, and you don't believe it, try getting off your sugar diet and see what happens to you. It just becomes really tough to live without sugar, especially when you're first trying it. But once you get it done, then you'll realize that it doesn't take a whole lot to make something sweet. Okay? As an antioxidant, any of these herbs contain anti-arthritic compounds. Sure enough, basil had 5, while marjoram, oregano, and rosemary weighed in with a few each. How much of each herb should you take to make the tea? People always ask that question, and I never know what to say. My teas are never the same. I use a bit of this, a bit of that, but to satisfy people who need recipes, I'll say to use 2 parts of the ingredient and light, and 1 part of those you have a less appealing to. So 2 parts, the one you like, 1 part of one you don't have a liking to. Pour boiling water over the herbs. Let them steep for 10 to 20 minutes before drinking. Give them a chance. I'm going to get into this a little bit more about the arthritis, and I'm going to talk about the herbs that were there in the beginning that we had, and that would be like the stinging nettle. These, I believe, all of these here, the stinging nettle, the oregano, the willow bark, the garlic, and the licorice. If we do not have them in a pill form or capsule form, then we probably have them in a bulk herb part for you to be able to get. And also essential oils are just phenomenal. And normally I would have a bottle of essential oil that I would rub. Expensive as it is, I love frankincense. I like the ones that are blended for particular stress, just kind of helping the body, the mind, the soul, and our spirit just to chill. We're in trying times right now. Really tough times we're having. And let me see, make sure I say the date. Yeah, today is Monday, August the 17th. And we've got information here that really can change the way your body feels. Now, you gotta quit doing the things that are causing the negative stuff. When you're drinking your soda pop and you're drinking with your sugar, and even worse with your artificial sweeteners, these things are not compatible to the chemistry of where we live. These are things that are manufactured and made by man to get your dollar bill. And that's what they do. and you have that hunger and thirst for that man-made stuff, and then you end up causing inflammation, joint pain from what you're doing. A lot of individuals that have come in and asked questions about what they could do and not do, and they could learn not to take on these things that cause and rob, steal, and destroy our nutrients. And then when we get rid of them stealing from us, and we put back into our body what it needs to be made whole, then our health improves. Okay? It improves. I'll talk to you a little bit about stinging nettle. Beyond stinging painful joints, there's another method of using an herb to treat arthritis: steaming the fresh leaves and enjoying them as a vegetable. You'll also be relieved to know that although you do have to wear gloves to harvest leaves, the fuzzy stingers lose their sting when the leaves are cooked. The Rheumatoid Disease Foundation suggests that 3 milligrams of boron taken daily may be helpful in treating osteoarthritis and rheumatoid arthritis. An analysis of stinging nettle provided to the author by USDA scientists showed that this herb contains 47 parts per million of mineral boron. Featured on a dry weight basis, that means that 100-gram serving of stinging nettle, easily prepared by steaming several ounces of young tender leaves, could easily contain more than the recommended 3 milligrams of boron. You can also get a good portion of nettle and you can put it in making a soup. According to Rheumatoid Disease Foundation, boron is effective because it plays a role in helping bones contain calcium. It also is beneficial influence on the body's endocrine hormonal system, and hormones play a role in helping the body maintain healthy bones and joints. Oregano. Studies are accumulating that the pizza herb, oregano, is a powerful antioxidant like other antioxidants contained in fruits and vegetables. The compounds in oregano may help prevent the cell damage caused by free radicals, highly unstable oxygen molecules that steal electrons from other molecules they encounter. Free radical reactions are probably involved in inflammation, degenerative arthritis, and aging process in general. The evidence is accumulating, and evidence may help relieve osteoarthritis and rheumatoid arthritis. And give you a little thing here, just kind of wanting you to know that you have to understand that Dr. Duke understood the composition of the plants. And he may be a little technical for you now, but if you'll remember the stinging nettle, if you'll remember, the herbs, that curcumin and garlic, the things that are natural for us, we may use them as some spices. We may like garlic bread. But what happened when you do that is you miss out on unless you slice your own cloves of garlic and squeeze them and put it on there, the processing a lot of times gets rid of the allicin that's in the garlic, and you miss out on the potency of the healing. Okay? Oregano In a test of nearly 100 plants in the mint kingdom, of which oregano is a member, the pizza herb was the one with the greatest total antioxidant activity. That's good reason to get pizza for supper tonight, right? Research has shown that antioxidant activity of oregano and other medicinal mints is due largely to the rosmarinic acid, a compound that's antibacterial, anti-inflammatory, antioxidant, antiviral properties. Considering how high it ranks for the kind of protection, oregano is definitely worth adding to your pizza or any other food if you have arthritis. You could also try a multiple mint, and there's some teas in there that for joint support. We have herbs in the capsules for joint. You can get garlic there at Remedy This Naturally. All of these things are there for your benefit and your healing and your it's not just healing. It's day-to-day activities of being able to get through your day the best you can so you can have the best quality of life and you can enjoy it. Why do we have a tendency to continue to add to the negativity as to what happens when our elbow bends and our mouth flies open and things go in there that should not have the ability to make our mouth open when the elbow bends? Good question. Willow, love it. Garlic and licorice. Willow bark was the original herbal aspirin. It contains a chemical called salicin, which the Bayer Company eventually transformed into little white tablets of azelaic acid. The pain-killing drug called aspirin that so many people with arthritis take daily. You're taking a synthetic form of allicin in there, and you got the side effects. Willow does not cause any bleeding, but guess what? Aspirin does. Aspirin, the chemicals are not God's chemicals. They end up being man's chemicals that give a negative effect. But since you copied God, He'll probably have you something with that aspirin that'll make you happy. But it won't be the best because it doesn't come strictly from God. Man's trying to rob, steal, and destroy. Okay? Still, and I just mentioned this, willow bark may upset your stomach. That's why I'm including licorice in the formula. Not only does licorice have anti-inflammatory effects, it can also help treat anti-gastral problems caused by too much willow. But the formula, you got to put some garlic with it too. So you can actually make your own formula if you want to. Licorice, while long-term use of ingestion of large amount of licorice can raise people's blood pressure and lead to other problems, garlic helps reduce blood pressure. So there's the formula. You need anti-arthritic tea, approximately 3 parts of willow bark, 2 parts licorice, and 1 part minced garlic. That'll get you going. Pour boiling water over the mixture and steep for 15 minutes. If you don't like the taste, add lemon and or honey plus ginger and turmeric to get rid of the taste. Maybe that, people are not really fond of garlic. Brazil nuts and sunflower. SAM is shorthand for S-androsyl-methionine, a chemical shown to have pain-relieving and anti-inflammatory properties. similar to those found in over-the-counter medication, and this time it was ibuprofen. SAM can be found in high methylthione seeds and nuts, particularly sunflower seeds, Brazil nuts. It would take 250 grams of sunflower seeds, about 9 ounces, or 500 grams of Brazil nuts to produce a dose of SAM. That's more effective than a standard dose of ibuprofen. It's not feasible to eat that many seeds and nuts, but I believe that very little benefit helps, especially if you use the other natural approaches that go along with it. And there again, on a regular basis, when you're putting the nuts in your system, or you're putting in the herbs and the teas, and sometimes more is not better. Sometimes it's little doses that can make a difference in the change. Let's talk about this for a second, okay? How many of you like broccoli? Yeah, broccoli. And other herbs contain glutathione. Studies indicate that people who are low in antioxidant compound glutathione are more likely to have arthritis than those who have higher amounts. Vegetables rich in glutathione include, you ready? Asparagus, cabbage, cauliflower, potatoes, tomatoes, and purslane. Fruits with healthy amounts about avocados, grapefruit, oranges, peaches, and watermelon. And this is just something I'm just sharing with you that I do. When it comes to my watermelon, I enjoy putting my watermelon in the blender and drinking it. I also include the seeds. I like buying the watermelon with the seeds in it. Not to have a spitting contest, to see how far you can shoot that seed across the path there. Did any of y'all do that? Did any of you have a watermelon seed spitting contest and see how far you could throw that seed and who could do it the furthest and win a prize, or just have bragging rights? That's the same thing. So there are different fruits. And here again, what we're talking about is God's pharmacy. We're talking about simple stuff. Vegetables rich in glutathione include asparagus, I know I'm repeating, cabbage, cauliflower, tomatoes, potatoes, and purslane. Fruits with healthy amounts include avocado, grapefruit, oranges, peaches, and watermelon. Get them, freeze you some. Rosemary was known in antiquity as the herb of remembrance. I find that quite fitting, since rosemary has the antioxidants that help prevent aging in cells, and aging process is certainly associated with memory loss. One Greek American herb grower tells how her fishing relatives set out to sea with fish dishes heavily covered with rosemary. Even when it was unrefrigerated, this food lasted for days, thanks in part to the antioxidant activity of rosemary. So if you go to the restaurant and the rosemary is too strong or whatever, find out how long it's been. That fish has been setting out. But it's good to know that it has freshness qualities. I think that's good. And it says, can an herb keep fish from spoiling, help preserve your youth? The answer is still out on that one, but rosemary has preservative powers compatible to the commercial preservative BHA and BHT. And since we know that antioxidants do help treat arthritis, it makes sense that this antioxidant-rich herb would help thaw the disease. Then vitamin C. Vitamin C inhibits the progression of osteoarthritis in guinea pigs. Does it work in humans? There's no proof of that yet, but it certainly can't hurt to get more vitamin C. Red pepper and many of the other herbs and vegetables mentioned in what we've talked about in this broadcast. It's important. We started out talking about just plain long old gin and raisin cure. Let me go back and talk a little bit about the introduction of arthritis. I kind of jumped in at the case of the stinging nettle, and I think some of the information that I did not get in the beginning would be something that would benefit you, okay? I'm the bass fiddle player in a 5-member band called Durham Station. In recent years, 3 of our band members or their relatives have been using an herb known as stinging nettle to relieve arthritic pain. Although stinging nettle does cook up into a tasty vegetable, these musicians aren't eating it. Rather, they are stinging themselves with a tiny grasp of the plant in a gloved hand and then swatting its stiff joint pains. The practice called Urtication from nettle biological name dates back at least 2,000 years to biblical times. Although it's an odd-sounding practice, there's no escape the fact that it's been around so long precisely because it helps so many people. Not only does our banjo player need a plant in his kitchen, keep a plant in his kitchen, so that he himself takes it for a arthritic flare-up, but he and other arthritic afflicted band members are convincing non-members to try the remedy. The guitar player's mother-in-law was unable to write because of arthritis in her hands, but the stinging of the nettle improved that. The fiddler's player's mom was also using stinging nettle taken over her garden, and she says it's arthritic very improved. And just so you don't think that the process is something that only crazy musicians indulge in, my former secretary in the U.S. Department of Agriculture kept a stinging nettle plant in her office. She removed the nettle and discreetly stinging herself at time arthritic stiffened her fingers. Urtication often provides significant relief. Sometimes this stuff works pretty fast. I have seen arthritic swelling subside within minutes after the stinging nettle was processed and used. Okay. So, the other thing, I started reading a new book, and I'll share this with you. And it's new because it was in my library, and I hadn't used it in a while. So I decided I would take and get into it, because what it was called, None of These Diseases. And what is so cool about this is looking at scripture for the answer. There you go. None of These Diseases is the name of the book. S.I. McMillan, M.D., and David E. Stern, M.D. And it deals with the Bible's health secrets for the 21st century. After thousands of years, medical science rediscovers a startling prescription for full health and living. Want to guess what that is? That after thousands of years, medical science rediscovers a startling prescription for full and healthy living. It's the Bible. All right, here we go. Talk a few minutes about it. God told the Israelites that he brought them out of Egypt. If you listen carefully to the voice of the Lord your God and do what is right in his eyes, if you pay attention to his commands and keep all his decrees, I will not bring to any of these diseases I brought to the Egyptians. For I am the Lord who heals thee. Exodus 15:26. If I don't get any further than that, I'm going to reread that again. If you pay attention to his command and keep his decrees, I will not bring on you any of the diseases I brought on the Egyptians, for I am the Lord who heals thee. It's no secret our lifestyle are killing us. Elevated stress hormones are toxic to our system, poisoning our bodies. Grief and bitterness, like wounds to the soul, cause spiritual cancers of anger and depression. Unhealthy habits lead to a myriad of diseases. Can faith really produce better health? Can corporate worship reduce hospital visits? That's why it's so important for us to not forsake the assembling together of ourselves. Can prayer replace pills? Modern medical research reveals 80 to 90% of studies what Christians have known for centuries. Weekly church attendance, daily Bible reading, and a constant attitude of prayer in the prescription of healthy living, body, soul, and mind. With over 1 million copies sold, none of these diseases have become a classic. Now completely revised and updated new generation. It shows how to obtain extraordinary medical benefits simply by heeding the Word of God in an engaging style peppered with anecdotes for both the medical practices. And Dr. Macmillan and Dr. Stern take us back to the Bible and show us how to apply our Creator's guidelines in the modern theme. Folks, church is essential. The gathering together is essential. We've got to take back what the devil's stealing from us and telling us the Word of God is not essential. And God said, and I'm going to repeat it to you, if you listen carefully to the voice of the Lord your God and do what is right in these eyes, if you pay attention to his commands and keep all decrees, I will not bring on you any diseases I brought on the Egyptian, for I am the Lord who heals you. Exodus 15:26. God bless you. I'm Claiborne Holtzman. Thank you for the opportunity to be with you. Sorry for the couple of hiccups where I lost my voice, but came right back. And you guys are special. You know, so this last thing in the last 2 minutes I have said, you know, that's probably the most important thing I said in the whole broadcast. God bless you. Take care. Until we meet again, come see us at Remedy This Naturally. Bye.